What's up everyone? Welcome back to my 4-Star School YouTube channel. In today's lesson, we are going to build this beautiful chat application. I will post the link for this design in the description below. And this is the final project we're going to make after we finish this tutorial. And I divide this tutorial into the two parts. So first part we're going to finish our home page, and the second part we will finish this detailed message page. And as you can see from this app, we have a list of recent content people. Under that we have a list of recent chat people, and each one can be clicked. So here I click the first one, and we will be navigate to the detailed chart page. And as you can see, you will automatically scroll this message to the bottom. And for example, if I scroll down to the first message, when I start typing, and you will automatically scroll down to this latest message. Since this is our Flutter UI from scratch tutorial, and I haven't implemented any backend yet, but I plan to teach you guys how to manage the state or how to connect your database within the Flutter in the future tutorial. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss out the latest 4-star Flutter project. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, first we're going to open our terminal and navigate to our project folder. Inside our workspace, which is this project folder, we're going to create a Flutter. I think I just call it chat app and hit enter. Just wait for seconds. The project will be created. Then we're going to open our Visual Studio Code and hit this open folder. Import the project we created just now, which is this chat app, and open it. And we need to do some config setup. So first we're going to create an assets folder for this project. I call it assets, and I'm going to import the assets file in my laptop, which is this image file. Also go to the pub specific YAML file in line 48, and we're going to uncomment those lines and delete. I'm going to import our assets, images. Let's save. We have this backslash, means we're going to import this entire folder. Just wait a few seconds, it will success. So now we can use the images inside our assets folder. And I think that's all for our project setup. Next is going to connect our app with the emulator. So we just find this met.dot file and hit this run button. And just wait a few minutes because this is the first time we install this application in our emulator, so it will take a little bit longer than usual. After a few minutes, you will be able to see this basic counter app show on the screen. This indicates we have a successful connect this emulator and our Visual Studio Code. Next, we're going to create some folder under this lib folder. So the first one would be our constants. And another folder called screen, and one more is called our modules. So inside this screen, I'm going to create two folders. First one is our home screen, and the other one is our detailed page screen. And inside our home folder, I'm going to create our home.dot file. And inside this home.dot file, I'm going to create a stateless widget first, and I just call it homepage, and remove this constructor for now, and also import a library. And inside this homepage, I'm going to return a scaffold, and change this child attribute to body, and I return a center widget. Inside this center widget, we have a very basic text widget, and indicate this is our home page. And let's save, and we back to our main.dart file. We're going to delete this my home page staple widget, and also remove this my home page. Instead, we're going to pass our home page, which is the one we create just now, and also remove the sim data. We can also remove this title as well. So let's save, and you're able to see we have a homepage text show in the center of our screen. And next, we're going to create a colors file inside this constant, and we're going to paste our theme color here. And the first one is our primary color, and we also have this primary light color and primary dark color, and also this one gray light color is for our font size. Okay, and then he say the reason I have this small k before each variable, because we can easily find those constants just by hit the key k. So all the constant variable will show when I'm trying to access them. Next, we're going to hide the status bar as well as this debug banner. So let's back to main.dart file. Inside this material app, we have this show debug banner. We're going to set to false. Also, above this return method, we're going to use our system Chrome set system UI overlay style, and we're going to place this system UI overlay style, and we change the status bar color, and we change it to transparent. And let's save. Then this status bar will be removed, and also this debug banner will be hide. And we can start from this point. So let's open our design file. So first, I'm going to implement this header, and that's back to our home.dart file. Here I'm going to use a column widget. So I change this center widget to the column widget, and inside this column widget, we're going to have a 3 child. So this one is the first and the second child. This is our third child. So we're going to implement this header first. And as you can see, it just text the widget. So we're going to create a simple text, which is a chart with your friends. Let's save. You'll be able to see this text, but I think we need to add some paddings. So we're going to wrap this cotton with container widget. Inside this container, we can set its padding, and here I use edge inset only. So I only set the top padding, and I'm going to use a median query dot context and dot padding dot top, which will return the height of this status bar. So I'm save it, and you will move down a little bit. And also we need to have a padding for this text, so I'm going to wrap this text with the padding widget, and I'm going to change this inset.or to just inset only, edged inset only. So I only give the left padding, and I set to 25. And then we're going to change this font size. So we're going to implement this style attribute, and we place this text style widget. And inside the text style, we're going to change the color. So the color, which is white color, and also the font weight, which is the bold, and also the font size. I just give it 28. Before we save, we actually need to change the background color of this scaffold. So we're going to change the background color. And here, when you hit the key K, you can see all the color we define. But I think we need to type more. So like a key primary or key primary dark and primary light, those variable will be shown. And here I just choose this key primary. So I save, and you see we have achieved this same result like this prototype. Next, we're going to implement this reason context list. And before we actually make this widget, we're going to create a user class first. So let's back to Visual Studio. Under this modules folder, we're going to create a user.dar, and we're going to create a user class. Here I'm going to define some attribute we're going to use. So first one is the user ID, and because we want the user ID, because we're going to check if the user ID if equals the current user ID. If it equals current user, and we're going to show the message on the right, otherwise the message will show on the left. So that's how we're going to achieve this layout. So we're going to have this user ID, and also the first name, user first name, and user last name. Then is the icon, and then is the color. You notice different users have a different background, so we could just store the color inside our user class, and then we're going to implement this constructor. So just implement this ID and this first name, this last name, this icon, URL, and this background color. And also we need to import a material. Let's save, and then we're going to create a static method which to generate a list of users, because currently we don't have any backend servers. So I'm going to implement this method. So in the real life, you're going to have your own backend which you can fetch a list of users, and you can render on your Flutter app. So I'm going to declare a static list of users, and I'm going to call it generate users. I'm going to return a list of users. So first user, I'm going to follow the same attribute defined here. So the first user ID will be 1, and the first name will be Sally. Last name, and the icon, and the color. Okay, save, and there will be our first user, so we can just copy and just change the name and the background. So I will create a sex user, so 1 2 3 4 5 6, and change the ID, and for the second user I can call it this. And the third user, and you can place it with any kind of username you want. So here just for the placeholder. Then it's changing the user images. And last one is the color. So for the second user, and the color would be, and for the third user, the color would be for user. Fifth user, and the last user. Okay, so let's save. Then we can use this user model to create a list of users we're going to render in our recent contact list. Then we're going back to our home.data file, and we're going to create another file under this home folder. So I create a widgets folder, and I'm going to create a recent contacts.data file, and inside this recent contacts I'm going to create a stateless widget, and I call it recent contacts. So delete the constructor and also import a library, and here we're going to define our contact list. So we can use the user class to generate a list of a user. We're going to import a library, and we can access to it static method, generate a list of a user. So inside this recent contact, I'm going to use a row widget. This is our first row, and this will be our second row. So we're going to use the row widget and implement its children attribute. So first I will keep this container imagine. So I use edge inset symmetric. So I set vertical to 25, and then I give some padding, still using this edge, but I only give the left padding. So I set to 25, should be constant with our text. And then inside this children, we're going to have a container, and inside the container we have a search icon like this. So we have the container. Inside this container we have a child, which is the icon. So we're using icon start search, and we give a size set to 30. And also the color, so search icon color should be white. Change the color to white and save. The reason you don't see this icon because we haven't imported this file yet. So go to home.file. After this padding widget, we're going to import our recent contacts. Let's save. Now you'll be able to see this icon. Also, we need to set this scroll C alignment to start. Okay, that's back to recent content list. So, and we're going to style this container a little bit. So we implement this decoration. So we use the back box decoration. Inside this box decoration, we have the color, and I'm going to use a white color with capacity. I'm going to set to 0.3, and then we have this shape. I'm going to use a box shape dot circle. So let's save, and also I'll give some padding. So I'm going to use edit inset.or, and I set to 10. And this will be much similar. Okay, so next we're going to implement this recent contact list. So I'm going to use a list view in this case. So after this container, I'm going to use a list view separator, and implement those required attribute one by one. So for item count, so I just use the contact list.length, and also for this separator builder, and I think I just use a sized box, and I set weight to 15. And also for the item builder, and we're going to pass the context and the index. So we're going to return a container. Inside this container, we have a child, which is the image. I'm going to use image.ss, and here we're going to pass our content list index dot icon URL. And before you save, we need to give this little view a height because it is inside our container. So we're going to give the height property 50 is enough. So let's save. And also I think the direction is also important. So I think we need to set its direction. Axis to horizontal. Axis dot horizontal. Let's save. Okay, you still won't be able to see it because we need to wrap this view inside expanded widget. That means the list view will have a space until this end. So currently the list view don't have the size constraint, so we're going to wrap this list view inside our expanded. So when we save, we are able to see our list view. You see we have a list of icons shown here, which is those 6 recent contact list. We're going to style those contact lists a little bit. So for this container, and we're going to add the padding. I think I used the edit inset.or and add padding for 5 because we're going to implement this decoration. I will give a background color and also the shape. So we use box decoration. Inside this box decoration, I have a color attribute, which we're going to use the color with define inside user class. We can use this background color, and also the shape should be box shape dot circle. And also I think these images should be resized, so I'm going to change the width to 40. So let's save. Now it looks much similar. And also I think we must have some margin between this list and this search icon. So we're going to set this margin, use edit inset only, and I will set this right margin 15. Let's save. Now it looks similar like this prototype. Next we're going to make this message list, but before we actually implement it, and I think we need to declare a message class. So let's back to this models folder. We're going to create a message file and going to call it message. So after this, I'm going to create this attribute. So first we're going to have this user inside our message. Then I'm going to import it, and then I'm going to have a last message, which is shown in here. This one is the last message, and also this last time. And also we're going to have one more attribute to check if the message is continue. For example, if the message is continue, so the icon, the user icon will be hide. So going to declare last time. So the boolean is continue. Okay, then I'm going to implement this message constructor. This dot users, this dot last message, and this dot last time, and this dot is continued. Okay, and also I think I will change this is continue to a name parameter. So I'm going to wrap with the curly bracket, and also set the default value to false. So by default, this message is no continue. So we have this user icon show on the left side. And we're going to create a static method to generate a list of message. But since here we use a user class, so we're going to get our user list. So I think it's a variable I call users, and it will from the user generate a list of a user. Then we can implement this static method. So here I just write it generate homepage messages, and we have a sex message and the user from index 0 to index 5, and we have sun last time and last message. And we can go back to implement our message.dart file. So first we're going to save it, and we go back to our home folder. Inside this widget folder, we're going to create a messages.dart, and I'm going to create a stateless widget, and I call it messages and delete the constructor for now, and also import a library. So here I'm going to return a container, but I need wrap the expanded widget, because as you see, this entire message list, you will not scroll the entire page. So I'm going to use expanded widgets, and inside this expanded widget I can use a list view. So show as is shown in our recent contact list here. We have a list view wrapped by the expanded widget. So we're going to wrap this container with our expanded widget, and inside our expanded widget we can have a child, and I just call it build messages, and I'm going to implement this method. Okay, and you will return a widget. Okay, so here I just return a text widget for now. Messages. Let's save. And also we need to import these messages in our hot data file. So after this reason context, we're going to implement import these messages. So let's save. We'll be able to see the text messages here. Okay, and now we can start coding from this point. So for this container, I'm going to add some padding. So the padding will be edge inset symmetric. And horizontal will be 25, and vertical I set to 40. And then we have a decoration because we have this round shape corner. So I'm going to use decoration, use box decoration. So inside the box decoration, and I can set the color to white, and also the border radius. I'm going to use this only attribute. So we set the top left and the top to right. Top left would be radius circular, call it 30, and also top to right radius circular 30 as well. So let's save. You see we have those two rounded corner, and the reason it didn't occupy this entire space because we didn't implement anything inside this build messages method. After I place the list view widget, and it will occupy the entire screen. Let's implement this build message method. So I'm going to replace it with list view dot separated, and going to implement the required attribute. So for item builder, return the context index, and this another method which is called build message, which is a list of those messages. And then for this, going to use this shortcut to create a message, build message method. And for this separator, I'm going to just use a sized box. Just return a sized box. So the height, and I'm going to set to 30. So the item count would be our message list. So here I'm going to import our message. Then we can access to its static method, which is called generate homepage message. Right, we can access to this message. So I'm going to place its length in here. So let's save. And here, because we didn't implement anything inside our build message method, so you will see this error. So in order to remove this error, so I just return a text widget. Okay, so let's save. Then the error will gone. Also, you see we have this a container occupy the entire screen because we have this list view inside our container. Okay, so next we're going to implement this build method. So for this build message, we're going to first have a row widget. Right, this is our first row, the second row, and the second row will be 2 column. This is first column, this is second column. So we're going to replace this text widget with our row widget. Inside it is children, and we're going to have a first row will be a container, and we have a child attribute, so which is the image access. Here we're going to need the index because we can access to this message list because this is our global variable, and we're going to pass the index, and then we can access the elements. So we're going to use message list index the users the icon URL, right? And going to change its weight to 60. Let's save, and you'll be see our icon shown here. And also you see we have a lot of white space between the first icon. So the reason because this is the list view, so we're going to set the padding and use edge inset.0, remove the top padding. Okay, and then we're going to style this container, so implement this decoration, use box decoration. Inside this box decoration we have a color, and we can use this message index user background color, right? Background color, and also the shape should be a circle, box shape, circle. Let's save. And also I think we have if we can have some padding, that would be great. So going to add some padding, inset.or, set to 5 and save. Okay, that's better now. Next part is this second row. So we're going have after this container, we're going to have a column widget, which is our second row, and we have this children attribute. So for our first children, it will be a row, and for the second, it will be just a text widget. So inside this text widget, we have a text, and I think it's our last message. So we can access to these message index dot last messages. So for our row, we have name and also the last time. So I think the first one is a text widget as well. So I'm going to access these messages. User first name last name. First name, and we have space. We have a space, and then the send for the last name. So let's save. Notice after we save, we actually encounter this text overflow. So we're going to wrap this column widget with a flexible. So then I save. The overall text will move to the next line, but there is no we want, so we can set the overflow attribute, and we can use text overflow, and we can set to ellipse. Let's save, and this is what I want. So send as this prototype, and we're going to style it a little bit. So but for our first row, we still missing our time last message time. So we're going to implement just a test widget, and the same we can access it using a message index last time. Okay, so let's save. Now we have all the elements we need. So next, just the style it a little bit. So first, for this row, we're going to say this main axis alignment and 2 space between. And next, I'm going to have some gap between this icon, this avatar, and those text. So between this container of flexible widget, I can use a sized box and set width to just 10 is enough. And then I'm going to style this title, which is the name, and going to use the style widget, text style. So inside this text style, I'm going to change the font size, which to 16, and also color. I want to use our primary dark color, and also change the font weight to bold. And let's save. Also, I think we can have some space between those two texts, which is this name and this message. So we can have like a sized box to separate. Okay, it should be in here. So size, I'm going to set high, so I just give it probably 5 is enough. Okay, that's better. And also change the color for those texts. So for our last time, and still using this text style, and I'm going to change it to our gray light. Okay, let's save. And also for the message, I also implement this style using a text style. Then I change the color to primary dark. So let's save. Okay, I think that's pretty much. Also, you see this can be scrolled down, and we didn't make this entire homepage to scroll, but we only make this message list to scroll. So because we use a list view inside an expanded widget. Okay, I think that's all for our homepage. We are going to implement this detailed message page in our next video. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also sub up to my content if you like my video. I will create a GitHub repo which contains all the assets you need to finish this project. I will put it in the description below. So don't forget to check my GitHub repo. Okay, thanks for watching. I will see you in next video.